The Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, Monday urged First Lady, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, to appeal to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the dire economic challenges causing immense suffering and starvation among the masses. Hi, welcome to What's Happening. These are the top stories. At number 1, President Bola Tinubu is meeting with his Senegalese counterpart, Macky Sall, in the capital, Dakar, as the constitutional crisis continues there over the postponement of elections initially scheduled for this month. Tinubu, who is also the chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, is in Dakar for a one-day trip, days after the bloc's foreign ministers held emergency talks in Abuja. Macky Sall's decision to push back the February 25th presidential vote has plunged Senegal into one of its worst crises since independence from France in 1960. Senegal's parliament backed the move on Monday and voted to keep Sall in office until his successor takes over, which is unlikely before early 2025. His second term had been due to end on April 2nd. At number 2, the Federal Capital Territory FCT Police Command's tactical teams, led by Commissioner Benes Igwe, have apprehended 307 suspects in a raid on the marked black spot Gidandambe in Dede Zuba axis of the FCT. During the operation, an English pistol with 15 rounds of 9mm ammunition was recovered from an individual claiming to be a DSS personnel, Ibrahim Tukur. The Commissioner disclosed that the ongoing Operation Velvet, launched on February 10th, aims to combat vehicular criminality and other crimes in the FCT. Igwe underscores professionalism among officers, cautioning against extortion, and encourages residents to report suspicious activities through provided emergency lines. At number 3, nurses from Abuja and Lagos chapters of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives have protested against the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, MDCAN's revised verification certification requirements. The nurses are dissatisfied with the guidelines, which they say limit their professional options and rights. They're urging the council to address concerns such as nurses' well-being, pay skills, and personnel shortages. The council's circular release on February 7, 2024, specifies the new rules, which include a non-refundable verification charge and at least 2 years of post-qualification experience. The recommendations will be implemented starting March 1st, 2024. And at number 4, the Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, Monday urged First Lady, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, to communicate to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu the dire economic challenges causing immense suffering, including hunger and starvation among the masses. The monarch expresses desire for the First Lady to personally convey this message from the palace to the President, her husband. The Emir also spoke on the crisis rocking the planned relocation of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, to Lagos. He stated that the hunger and starvation in the land, though didn't start with this government, but the situation has become worse and needs urgent attention. At number 5, the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, has cautioned Nigerians against unprotected sex while reaffirming its commitment to promoting a healthy and responsible celebration of love. The Director General of NACA, Gambo Aliyu, advised in a statement issued by the agency's Head of Public Relations and Protocol, Toyin Aderibigbe, in Abuja. Aliyu urged the general public to incorporate protection into intimate moments, undergo regular HIV testing, and engage in conversations about sexual health with their partners. He says these measures contribute to not only personal health, but also to the broader goal of building safer and healthier communities. At number 6, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has advised President Bola Tinubu-led administration to completely phase out electricity subsidy in the country, despite the hardship Nigerians are facing since the removal of fuel subsidy in May 2023. According to its published post-financing assessment report, the IMF added that the federal government had overwhelmed itself, thus recommending that the total removal of both fuel and electricity subsidies must be implemented. The IMF stated that the authorities focus on restoring macroeconomic stability and creating conditions for sustained, high and inclusive growth is appropriate. At number 7, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, commences case in the trial of suspended Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele on charges of procurement fraud in an FCT High Court in Abuja. Emefiele faces amended charges, including the criminal conspiracy, conferring undue advantage, and breach of trust, among others, to which he pleaded not guilty. The EFCC's first witness, Onyeka Ogbu, a deputy director in the CBN, testified that $6.2 million was allocated for international election observers and presented documents related to the request for payment. The trial was adjourned until Tuesday for continuation, with Emefiele accused of forging a document on foreign election observer missions and involvement in obtaining $6.2 million for the CBN Governor's Lodge renovation. At number 8, the Acting Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, Dr. Adamu Abdullahi, has called on the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, to impose harsher penalties on erring electricity distribution companies, DISCOs. He congratulated NERC for taking action against 11 DISCOs for failing to comply with the cap on anticipated bills for unmetered consumers. The Commission reiterated its commitment to provide better bargains for energy consumers and invites anyone affected to file complaints for inquiry and resolution. At number 9, Kelvin Kiptum, Kenya's 24-year-old marathon world record holder, and his coach, Rwandan Gave Hakizimana, was sadly killed in a car accident in western Kenya. Kiptum made history when he clocked 2 minutes 35 seconds to win the Chicago Marathon, smashing his fellow Kenyan Eliud Kipchoge's world record by 34 seconds in October 2023. His landmark time was only officially ratified by the World Athletics last Tuesday. World Athletics President Seb Coe led the tributes Sunday. Coe described Kiptum as an incredible athlete leaving an incredible legacy. And at number 10, the African Development Bank and the United Nations Refugee Agency have said they are partnering to support displaced people and their host communities in South Sudan. Since the start of the war in the neighboring Sudan last year, over 500,000 people have arrived in the country where resources are already overstretched. Most of the arrivals are South Sudanese who have been in Sudan for decades. Many are heading back to villages that barely have any services and where there is no humanitarian assistance available. The bank's Vice President for Regional Development, Integration and Business Delivery, Marie-Laure Akinolubade, and Raouf Mazou, the UNHCR's Assistant High Commissioner for Operations, met with government authorities, refugees, and members of the host community. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.